Welcome back to the Crabby Tabby Report, where I, your ever-exasperated feline truth-teller, dig my claws into the latest absurdity of modern life so you don't have to. Before we unravel yet another conspiracy against common sense, do me a solid. Hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell, like you're waking up a lazy human who forgot breakfast time. Why? Because premium catnip isn't free, and neither is my sanity. Supporting this channel is free for you, but priceless for me, as I remain hell-bent on exposing the nonsense, whether you like it or not. Now, onto the criminal enterprise that is Canadian air travel. Why is flying in Canada so expensive? A catastrophic breakdown. Canada, the land of universal health care, apologetic insults, and airfare so high, you'd think you were chartering a private jet just to visit your grandma in Winnipeg. While our American neighbors book $99 round-trip flights to anywhere with palm trees, Canadians are out here selling kidneys on the black market just to afford a quick trip across the country. Why? Because our air travel system is a masterclass in government protectionism, corporate greed, and logistical buffoonery. So let's sink our claws into this mess and see what we can do to force some sense into it. 1. The great Canadian air monopoly. The first problem? Competition is a myth. Canada is effectively a two-airline country, Air Canada and WestJet. Sure, we've got some underdog carriers, Flair, Lynx, Porter, but they're fighting over the airline equivalent of breadcrumbs, while the big cats devour the feast. Meanwhile, in the US, you can fly on Delta, United, American, Southwest, JetBlue, Spirit, or even some guy named Bob, who operates a budget airline out of his barn, for half the price of a Canadian ticket. Why does this happen? Because of the Canada Transportation Act, which essentially bans foreign airlines from offering domestic flights within our borders. In Europe, a budget airline from Spain can fly you from London to Paris for less than a Tim Hortons coffee. But in Canada, that same flight distance costs as much as a trip to Tokyo. Government-sanctioned monopolies, because why let competition lower prices when we can just suffer in polite silence? 2. The taxation travesty. Think your airfare is expensive? That's before you look at the fine print. Airport improvement fees. AIFs. Fancy a stroll through a terminal? That's $40 per ticket just to enjoy the privilege of existing in an airport. NAV Canada fees. Air traffic control doesn't fund itself, apparently. That cost? Passed directly to you. Security fees. Because somehow, even safety is paywalled. Fuel taxes. Canada. Where we tax the airline, who taxes the passenger? Who taxes their patience trying to figure out why the ticket price doubled? By the time you add everything up, a $200 ticket is suddenly $500, and you haven't even stepped foot on the plane. 3. Airports, corporate money laundering machines. Most civilized countries fund their airports publicly. Canada? Nope. We run them like soulless corporations, expected to turn a profit. So what do? Gouge airlines, who then gouge you. Toronto Pearson Airport is one of the most expensive airports in the world for airlines to operate in. Guess who pays for that? Oh, right, you. At this point, Pearson should at least throw in free maple syrup shots at security, but no, you just get delays and overpriced bottled water. 4. Where the hell are the budget airlines? Every time a low-cost airline tries to thrive in Canada, Air Canada and WestJet huddle together like villains in a Bond movie, jacking up their own fares, just long enough to snuff out the competition. It's like watching a tiny kitten try to eat while the older, fatter cats hoard all the kibble. Southwest Airlines could bring salvation, but they're not allowed to operate here because our government would rather force us to endure Air Canada's criminal pricing then allow foreign carriers to bring in affordable options. 5. Canadians want to travel Canada, if only they could afford it. It's not just about getting from point A to point B. Canadians want to explore their own country, but flying within our own borders costs more than a vacation to Greece. At a time when trade wars and economic uncertainty have people reconsidering trips to the U.S., domestic tourism should be booming. But instead of making it easy to visit the Rockies, the Maritimes, or the Northern Lights, our airlines are making sure we stay home and watch Netflix instead. If domestic flights were affordable, Canadians would boycott U.S. travel in droves, keeping their tourism dollars at home instead of funneling them into Disneyland or overpriced Vegas buffets. This would stimulate local businesses, increase employment, and strengthen our economy. But hey, why invest in your own country when you can keep price gouging your citizens into staying put? 6. What can we do about it? If we want real change, we need to stop grumbling and start demanding action. Here's how. 1. Pressure the government to allow competition. We need an open skies agreement that lets foreign airlines offer domestic flights. Call, email, and pester your MP until they're forced to care. 2. Demand airport fee reductions. Other countries subsidize their airports. Canada turns them into ATM machines. Demand better policies before Pearson starts charging for oxygen. 3. Support budget airlines. If you have an option to book Flair, Lynx, or Porter, do it. Don't reward the monopolies by settling for overpriced fares. 5. Invest in high-speed rail. If France, China, and even America can do it, so can we. A bullet train from Toronto to Montreal? Yes, please. Make it happen, Ottawa. That's enough government-sanctioned robbery for today. If you enjoyed this claw-sharp commentary, do me a favor. Like, subscribe and ring that bell before Air Canada finds a way to charge you for it. Premium catnip isn't cheap, and I need it to stay calm while dealing with this mess. It's free for you, but it keeps this channel alive. And trust me, whether you like it or not, I'm getting this news out. See you next time, humans. Stay sharp, stay furious, and for the love of all things fluffy, don't get ripped off.